Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. There is a video that I saw, but I didn't want to bring it because I really needed to be sure before bringing something like that here because it's a little bit kind of sensitive. But with the things that I am hearing from Nick Fuentes, it's kind of making sense, but I am still going to be underground. Now, let me tell you something. A day before Charlie Kirk's unaliving, Israel, Israel's media posted about it, right? Which they have also deleted. They made several posts about Charlie Kirk. Now, you heard that Nick Florenti was talking about how he has left the stage because now it looks like Nick Florenti and Charlie Kirk were like kind of in a battle, like who is going to be the most rated deceased activist and all that. So even after his death, it was like few seconds immediately Donald Trump posted about his passing, right? Israel, Netanyahu also posted something about it. So from what Nick Florenti is saying, he is saying that he took money from Israel, but refused to deliver. So now that he is out of the stage, I don't know, but the whole thing is making sense. You and I can critically understand that there is something wrong somewhere, but it is from them now taking away each other. Let's get into this video.
Have you guys heard what Nick Fuentes' thoughts on Charlie Kirk is and why it might have given Charlie Kirk's assassin the go on Charlie? Listen.
What has to happen with Charlie Kirk is one of two things. One, he needs to recant his support for Israel. Not I'm going to hear everybody out, you're not an anti-Semite. No, you need to come out and say, I took foreign money. I shilled for a foreign country, and I won't anymore. That's what we need to hear. That's option one. You can't take money from a foreign government and lie on their behalf and then say, oh, well, I'm just not going to be as aggressive anymore against and calling people anti-Semites and things like that. No, you need disclosure. You need accountability. Or two, you need to leave the stage. People cannot listen to somebody that they cannot trust.
That was Nick Fuentes telling his audience of white supremacists and far-right wacko conservatives that Charlie has two choices. He laid them out. Charlie had to come clean about taking money from Israel or leave the stage. It is very possible that the far-right Christian nationalist that took Charlie's life heard this podcast. You could take those words either way. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but we do know he was a far-right Christian nationalist. We knew all along that our side had nothing to do with this. Taking a glimpse into this world, I could see how a 22-year-old kid can be taken back by this, can take this stuff seriously, and then take it into his own hands to do what he believes is the right thing to do. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. And as always, have a day!
Hey guys, happy Sunday. Listen, have you guys ever heard of the term a groper? A groper? And that's not somebody who puts their hands on people who shouldn't. This is a following of Nick Fuentes, far white guy, right? Got this whole group of followers behind him. They're called groypers. They are devoted followers of Nick Fuentes. Something I found out that I did not know. Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk had a serious rival going on, to the point that Nick Fuentes was speaking out against Charlie Kirk, and it was being said that a lot of his groypers were infiltrating places that he would go and heckle him. And they would interrupt his speeches, and they would show up at places where he was going to be, and they would, create disturbances. Well, the young guy, Tyler Robinson, his mother put out a picture on, there you go, put out a picture on TikTok one Halloween, and she said Tyler is going as some mean guy. Well, Tyler was dressed as a groper. One of the little memes they had was a frog in a green jogging suit, and he had that outfit on for one of their Halloween costumes. So he's definitely a Nick Fuentes follower. And then one interesting thing did happen was Nick Fuentes came right out after the after the shooting, came right out and denounced it. Anybody that follows me that believes in any type of violence, I completely denounce it. And he was very, very nervously putting that comment out. And he also made a comment that he was scared. I think that was before he put the comment out about denouncing the violence. Well, when someone from your organization or your following, when they come out and go against and strike out against somebody that you have an issue with, someone can say that maybe you were the one that worked that individual up into a frenzy to the point that he felt like he had to do something. Yeah, gropers felt like Charlie Kirk wasn't right-wing enough. He wasn't enough. He wasn't right-wing enough. So they had issues with him. And like I said, they would show up at some of his debates across the country, and they would heckle him. They would make disturbances. So this young man, Tyler Robinson, is a groper. He's a Trump supporter. He's a Republican. His whole family is a Republican just about, and his grandmother came out and said she doesn't know one Democrat in her family. So we all see it's all right wing associated. It's just that there's a right wing and a right wing. So you do have a civil war on your hands, MAGA, but it's not with us. It's within your own organization. See, when y'all create these monsters and set them loose on the libs, once you create that monster, you can't necessarily control that monster. You can for a while when you're feeding them what they want to hear. But when that monster hears something they don't like and they're hearing it from you, that same reaction that you build up, that same mentality that you nurtured and set out on other people, that's coming back at you. See, that's what y'all didn't understand. Creating and supporting and grooming and uplifting these monsters that are out here doing political assassinations, political violence. Y'all did not stop to think for one moment what would happen if for some reason they no longer wanted to follow you. What would happen if for some reason they started to disagree with you? Would you be subject to their behavior? Would you be subject to their threats? Would you be subject to their violence? Well, it looks like you got the answer, and it's yes. Charlie Kirk is a person that suffered from the violence of the monsters the right wing created. That's the thing about that. You can't control them. Yeah, you can whip them into a frenzy and aim them at people, but you can't necessarily control them. See, you have to keep feeding them what you were feeding them. You can't change your stance. You can't change your opinion. You got to stick to it if not, you got to increase. But you so can't decrease. Well, now, you guys have a problem on your hands. Because You got the Charlie Kirk followers that are going to want to revenge their boy, and you got the Nick Fuentes followers who didn't like him, called him a fake, called him a political hack or something. He was bought out or something they called him. You know what all those terms they use. Yeah, they were all against him. So now, MAGA, I can't. You guys got one thing that you always wanted. You got it now. You have your civil war. It's just that the Civil War participants aren't going to be who you thought they were going to be. You thought it was going to be a white versus black and brown and liberal civil war. No, it's a war between your own organization. Because, see, y'all created these monsters and you cannot control them. And the minute you get up under their skin the wrong way, the minute you make them feel about you the way you make them feel about the people on the left and black and brown people, then you got the problems that the people on the left and the black and brown people had. See, that's how that works. That's how that works. It's all fun and games in the beginning when it's not aimed at you. But the minute they start aiming at you, then it's a problem. Y'all were all ready to go to war when y'all thought it was from the left. And you thought it was a black or brown person. But now that you see it's one of your own homebred, one of your own homebred, now what? You don't want to go to war no more? That war called canceled? Hoo-hoo! It's canceled? Is it? Because y'all was so raged on the 9th. I mean on the 10th. And the 11th, y'all was so enraged. I thought it was finna go down like that day. I mean, y'all came out all kind of demonic voices coming out of you. You evil. I was like, oh my God, is she in there? Or did it completely take over? Because that face and that voice did not match. Y'all probably saw some white blonde chick out here. She was almost foaming at the mouth. But hey, where is she today? You know who the person is now. Why aren't you taking that same energy up to Utah? Why aren't y'all putting all those war claims? You got a name to tie it to now. Why aren't y'all declaring war anymore? Why aren't y'all going after the vengeance for your boy? Because it's an insider thing. You guys finally got what you want. You got the war, but now it's a war between your own. You guys have started something that's going to eat you alive. And all I can say is bon appetit.
Nick Fuentes, groypers, and the rights war within itself. I'm chronically online, so I'm going to explain this entire thing in as little words as possible. Nick Fuentes is a streamer, internet personality, alt-right, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, white nationalist, Christo-fascist, and this is all by his own words, by the way, homophobe, misogynist, everything you can think of, that man is. And this is not me being #woke. He is proudly those things. He is as far right as the far right come. And he does not like Charlie Kirk. Why, you may ask? Because get this, Charlie Kirk is too moderate for him. In terms of the young white male conservative sphere, Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes are battling out because Nick Fuentes wants his ideals to be the most dominant ones, these really far right stuff, and he wants to push the Republican Party all the way to the right. His fans are called groypers. Gropers, I don't know how to pronounce it, but they're recognizable with the Pe0ple the Frog meme, different variations of it. If you see the Pe0ple the Frog meme, it's very much associated with that 4chan incel space. That's them. Nick Fuentes and his fans, groypers, have engaged in 2 wars against Charlie Kirk. They call it the groyper wars, where they go to his events and they ask questions that are very far right to either force him to take far right positions or expose him as a liberal. That's their main goal. Their main goal is to make Nick Fuentes the main conservative young male in the conservative sphere, right? So now that Charlie Kirk is, dead, it benefits Nick because now he gets to take his place as the leading young male conservative and to push his ideals, which is very, very far right, into the mainstream. He recently went online to say we don't support political violence because he knows it was one of his guys. He knows. He just from looking at him, the Tyler Robinson guy, you can tell he's one of those 4chan Discord, people. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I even forgot to add that these people don't like Trump because Trump likes Israel, but they like MAGA because MAGA has successfully shifted the conversation further in their favor. So they use the movement to their advantage to kind of use as a jumping off point to go further into Hitler Youth. One final message: if you have a brother or a son or a friend who is leaning into these conservative spaces, you should probably check their phone. You should probably check their phone because it's very easy to get wrapped into the alt-right pipeline. I've seen black girls get trapped into the alt-right pipeline. It's not hard, especially if you're into these nerdy spaces. It's as simple as that. So yeah, be cautious because you don't want your friend or your brother or son to become the next school shooter. Yeah.
This was on the front page of the New York Times the day before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Nick Fuentes, a white nationalist problem for the right. And the very next day, we saw how true that headline turned out to be. Because a 22-year-old Mormon from Utah was radicalized by Nick Fuentes and ended up picking up a hunting rifle and assassinating Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University from 150 yards away. And all these Republican politicians and the leaders of our country who are blaming the left and Democrats for radicalizing people into violence completely ignore the fact that the call is coming from inside their own house. That is Nick Fuentes, a white nationalist who is far right, who is radicalizing young boys and young men and convincing them that violence is the answer to create the world that they want. And so instead of blaming leftists and liberals and Democrats, the right need to understand that the call is coming from inside the house, that Nick Fuentes is radicalizing young men. This is why the New York Times posted this. The day before somebody who was radicalized by Nick Fuentes picked up a weapon and committed political violence. Nick Fuentes is a problem for the right. And until the right stops blaming the left, they will never get over this violence.
The unaliving of Charlie Kirk benefits one group and one person. Nick Fuentes and the groypers. And if you don't know what the groypers are, go to my other video so you get put up to speed. But I'm deep in this damn rabbit hole. And the rise of Nick Fuentes is bad for MAGA and DJT. And I'm going to tell you why. Unlike MAGA, the groypers are able to adapt. Nick Fuentes had faith in DJT. He believed he would bring the system to its knees. But once he recognized, like all normal people do, that he's just propping up the system, he said he's a demagogue, withdrew all support, and that's why he's dragging them with the files and all that. So this is a shitpost assassination being led by a shitposter, memeing his way to an objective that actually might be ruined by what Tyler just did. Because while Nick Fuentes is getting all this attention, it's also going to get the attention of MAGA and DJT, which means he could direct their Department of Justice to go after these people once they realize that, yeah, the groypers are the far, far, far right, and they have more in common with the far, far, far left than people realize. The issue is they're neo-Nazis and they'll want to run on this race baiting shit, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But they're getting radicalized in these chat groups. Tyler's whole family was MAGA. But most of these kids are introverted. They probably spend all their time in the basement, looking at a screen, getting radicalized by people telling them words through a podcast, trying to develop their own internal character and staying true to those principles for whatever goddamn reason. But I bet you these kids are bullied too, man. You know, introverted kids, especially real introverted kids, they just have a hard time socializing. So I think part of being able to stop those school is getting in these chat groups, bro. and trying to get these kids to see the light. Because this assassination by Tyler, I don't think Nick Fuentes wanted. He's gonna gain in his exposure, but now the group's got its whole all the light on it, and they kind of work in anonymity. So MAGA's going to be in a denial for a while, but Trump's Department of Justice is going to realize this sometimes, and then they're going to go after them. So it's cannibalism of groypers and MAGA, because Nick Fuentes did what MAGA never did, condemning violence, and I was like, well, why do you do that? Because they don't like this type of light to be shined. They work in the shadows, man. They work in chat groups, and anonymous and on Reddit. And trust and believe, if DJT makes the recognition and realizes that these people are threats to him, he's gonna go after them. And these motherfuckers are a lot smarter than any MAGA person. So, once again, this civil war is going to be with MAGA and the groypers, it looks like. Oh, how the tables have turned. But these kids are, I bet a lot of them are intellects, man. Doing this solo, just based on instruction, shows an extreme ability to disseminate, execute, and they're doing it on their own accord. Man, this shit's gonna get crazy.
Fuentes may be the funniest person alive, bro. I don't watch, or I've never seen any full episode of his podcast or whatever his show is. But I just see little clips on social media when they come across my For You page, timeline, whatever. But
this is all I got from this video. And for those that do not know Nick Fuentes, I'm sure he's very popular. He's on the same category with Charlie Kirk, right? But I think this one, I don't know who is even more. I think they're always battling, like, Nick Fuentes thinks that Charlie Kirk is always on a minimum. That is to tell you how that one is. But one thing I'm going to tell them is that they better start watching there, because people aren't smiling these days. And he is the one that said my body, my rules, or something like that, right? Yeah, I think that my body, my choice is the one. Now, there is something that I saw, but I decided not to bring that video because I don't want to start saying alleged, but I am going to brief you guys a little bit. Now, let me tell you something. Before Charlie Kirk was all alive, I want you to know that Israel media posted it. You heard me right. Israel media posted it. And immediately he was declared, Netanyahu posted something like that. And there were so many, in fact, there are so many, I just do not want to bring that, but I am telling you now that there is something that I am thinking. You and I know that whatever that has happened is a political story, violence. And this thing is kind of political, right? And you know that Israel has been funding them allegedly. Allegedly. Israel has allegedly been funding some certain things. And you and I know that Charlie Kirk is being paid. Nick Fuentes is also being paid for pushing those rhetoric they push online. And you know that Nick Fuentes is also, they are both jealous of each other. Yes. So now you heard what Nick Fuentes said. I do not want to bring all his video here. Like, you don't take money from people and you do not deliver. When you do not deliver, you have to move on the way. So what they are doing is eye for eye, an eye for eye. And there are so many things that my brain has been thinking. But it's something that I am still going to be on a low key till whenever. But you and I know that most top people, including the head of your White House, I personally feel that they know some certain things, because you and I also know that he pushed forward to releasing the file, the Epstein file. And moreover, they've been distracting us with that Epstein file. I hope that file comes out. I don't know how to say this, but everything going on is in kind of insane, and it's in kind of unsettling and extremely dangerous at the same time. But whatever it is, I hope that some of this podcast, it's in kind of a, I know I understand free speech is according to the which amendment, 14th Amendment, right? But it looks like the same free speech is given to a certain kind of people, and it is not given to a certain kind of people, right? These people's free speech is actually very dangerous. Nick Fuentes, Charlie Kirk, and some of them. Some of these conservatives, it is very bad. When I say very bad, very, very bad. And it should actually be curtailed. Why? Because so many people they produce so much hate in whatever podcast they have. And why they are producing that, they are also grooming people directly or indirectly without you knowing it. And then when they are done grooming who they are grooming, you see them all on the streets going for people that did not do anything to them. That is how bad it is. There is a tweet that I saw this morning, and it says that all colleges, all universities, all right, should have at least 50% of Republicans in it to help curtail some 50%. And one thing I am going to tell you is that where are you getting 50% of Republicans that are educated? I am sorry, but I am telling you the truth. 50% of Republican, and being a university lecturer, it means that you make research. Because Republicans don't make research, they only have opinions. I might be wrong, but I stand corrected. So why is it that these people are taking away, like, people eat, because now they are trying to take away human rights. So it means, like, if you are a Republican, maybe you are bound to get more job. This is one of the reasons why they decided to say that DEI is nothing anymore, and you all can. Moreover, they've been the one enjoying it more. So all I can say is that you and I know that American politics lies on daily basis for Israel. On daily. I remember last year or last 2 years that sometimes, even I've been saying it all the time, that sometimes I feel like United States is just United States of Israel, because I don't know how they control some certain things going on, but it is what it is. So now that this one had left the stage, so this one is about to take, Nick Fuentes is about to take the stage. It looks like it's an open season for MAGA. Let's watch and see what happens. Man, it is one thing I know for sure is that I made it clear that this administration, it has already been rate. I mean, like, the American is a rate disease, but then the administration has really powered so many things going on. But one thing I'm going to say is that I hope you continue to be very watchful. And yeah, for some content creators, please be very careful. with what you post, because I learned that MAGAs are already doxing and reporting some people that look like me, and some also their own people to their jobs, this thing, and some are actually being sacked. On a very serious note, it's no joke. Some are actually being sacked. So please be very careful. Bye for now.